Hi friends. So today I thought we'd do a quick little stretchy mobility focused little movement snack. It's going to mostly focus on the hips and the thoracic spine, kind of moving those around and getting those lubricated. And these are movements that I often do when I'm just feeling kind of stuck or like stretching alone isn't cutting it, where the joints feel kind of goopy and my muscles don't necessarily feel warm. So with that in mind, what I'll encourage you to do for this little mini workout is to kind of back off a little bit on the feeling of stretch and focus more on the feeling of mobilization. Okay, so what we're going to do is kind of work in that 80% range. So as we move through the feeling of stretch and mobilizing our joints, instead of like looking for the biggest stretch that you've ever felt in your whole life, we're going to think more about how our joints are articulating and letting the muscle and fascia and tissues that surround those joints just kind of expand and contract. Okay, so here we go. We're going to start in an all fours position. We are going to be kneeling for a little bit. So if you have sensitive knees and you want to roll up your mat or put a pillow or a towel underneath your knees, totally fine. Make yourself comfy. So you're going to find your hands underneath your shoulders, knees underneath your hips. And we're just going to start with a cat-cow. You're going to exhale, round the spine. Push the mat forward as you dome the upper back towards the ceiling. And then inhale, drag the hands towards you as you lift your chest. Let's just do 3 more. Exhale, round. Inhale, find an arch, head and tail lift. Exhale, using the breath around. Kind of swim around a little bit, find the sticky spots. Inhale, arch. 1 more time, exhale, round. And then inhale, find neutral. I'm going to swing my feet a little bit over to my left. I'm going to take my right hand, put it in front of my left hand. I'm going to push the mat forward as I send my hips back, feeling a nice stretch through the right side of my body, and then pull back forward. And reaching back and forward. Let's just do 2 more. And forward. It's kind of teasing more length with every repetition. And forward. I'm going to swing my feet over to my right and then walk my hands over to the right. And then I'm really going to actively push the mat forward. Ooh, that's my stickier side. So with this series too, if you find that you have like one spot, one side, one hip, one armpit, it just feels like it needs a little more love or a few more repetitions, go back to that side and spend a little bit of time there. This is for you. I'm going to do 1 more on this side. Okay, and then come back onto all fours, making sure that my head and tail are long. We're going to go for thread the needle. I'm going to take my right arm out to the side of the room. I'm going to push through my left hand and look up. And then as I dive my right fingertips behind my left arm, I'm going to think about pulling my chest forward and my tailbone slightly arcing up to the ceiling. So rather than getting all hunched forward, I'm trying to create space in my spine. And then push that left arm, right arm up. And back down. So again, I'm feeling that sensation of stretch, but I'm not necessarily searching for it. I'm going to do 1 more. Just feeling more than all my joints are articulating and mobilizing. Take the left arm outside of the room, push through the right hand, and then take a thread the needle. I just find that I do like a little flick of my hand up at the top. I don't know why. Feels good. Feels kind of silly. Nothing wrong with making your workouts silly from time to time. Oh, twist. 1 more. And then back down. From there, I'm going to stay on this all fours position. I'm going to take my right foot to the outside of my right hand. So I'm just going to give my hips a little bit more space. And then I'm going to start to let my hips go forward. And then I'm going to begin to walk my hands back and maybe flex this front leg so you get a little hamstring stretch. So because the legs are wide, you're going to be on a bit of a diagonal. That's fine. So you're almost going to feel like you go with your pelvis to the right a little bit and then maybe back to the left. So this is prime place where we're like, oh, I just really want to stretch my hips. They're so tight. So what you can start to think about is the muscle tissue is kind of like a ball of yarn that's maybe knotted. And so if you pull really tight on a knotted ball of yarn, it's just going to get tighter. So you kind of have to like tease out the ball of yarn tease out those knots. So that's what we're doing right now. Now you're going to come forward into just an easy runner's lunge and hold. I'm going to press my left hand down, take my right hand behind my head, and then lengthen from my head to tail. Push down through your left hand and rotate to the right and back. And I'm thinking about this rotation as almost starting from my back foot. So I'm letting my pelvis rotate. So it's a long rotation. So I'm not cranking through any part of my spine. I'm going to do about 2 more. Rotate and back. And 1 more. I'm going to place my right hand down. I'm going to rock back a little bit and then take my right leg out to the side of the room and flex my foot so my knee stays protected. I'm going to lift my tailbone up a little bit, stretch my chest forward, and then push with my hands and send my hips back. So I do this one a lot in sessions and in group classes. It's a really great inner thigh stretch, and it is very, very helpful for low back discomfort because it helps to really plug the hip joints in and get some congruency there. So what I'll ask you to do is just notice if you're pushing back by rounding your spine and see if you can be more interested in getting glide through your hips. Let's just do 1 more. And then come back to neutral. So my right leg is long. I'm going to take my right arm. I'm just going to reach it up and lower down. And do the opposite side, left. Ooh, that's a little more fun. And down. And right arm up, open twist. And I guess we could call this, I don't know, a closed, more twisty, twisty twist. Just 1 more each side. And open. And a closed twist. And then come down. So I'm going to come onto my knees now and I'm going to face you guys. All right, and then I'm going to take my same right leg, okay? So this is where I'm not mirroring, but I'm using my right leg, the one that was straight out to the side of the room. And I'm going to come into this little like warrior 2-ish lungy position. I'm going to let my pelvis rotate a little bit towards my thigh so my knee is right over my toe, and I'm just going to start to glide. So both of my hip joints are getting a little bit of mobilization. Both inner thighs are stretching. Just doing it in a slightly different way. Do 2 more. Last one. Then come back to kind of a center. I'm just going to bring my hands out of the way. I'm going to do a little weird asymmetrical squat and come back up and down and up. So I'm really thinking about rotating my pelvis on top of my femurs and down. I'm kind of working in between like 4 to 6 repetitions of everything depending on what my body needs. And 1 more. Okay, great. Let's come back down to all fours and do the whole thing on the second side. So I'm going to start in that all fours position. I'm going to take my left foot up alongside my hand. I'm going to rock forward and back. I did some chatting on the other side, so I felt like I got about, 10 reps. We'll just kind of hang out on this one. It's a good one to do, passing back and forth. So I can feel on this side my hamstring's a little tighter, so what my tailbone is doing is tucking under because my body's really smart. So I'm going to say, hey, tailbone, let's stay a little longer. And I'm not going to worry if my left leg straightens. It's okay. Just flexing and extending both of my hip joints. 1 more. Good, now I'm going to come into an easy runner's lunge. I'm going to plant my right hand down. So whatever knee is up, that's my left knee. I'm going to take my left hand behind my head and lengthen and push. I'm going to push down through my right hand, rotate to the left, and come back. And rotate. And again, I'm thinking about that rotation almost starting from my back foot. So I'm allowing my pelvis to rotate as well. Ooh, that feels lovely. And 1 more time. And then I'm going to plant my hand down. I'm going to take that same leg, and I'm going to reach it out to the side of the room. I'm going to flex my foot deeply, lift my tailbone, chest reaching forward, and I'm going to push back and come forward. So I'm less interested in how far I can go back and more interested in how much I can move my hip joints. So what I'm attempting to do, might not be 100% successful, is seeing if I can glide my pelvis back without any change in my spine. 1 more time. All right, then we're going to go for an open twist. You're going to reach that left arm up, lean back, and down. And then right arm up, ooh, little inner thigh. And left arm up. And right arm up. gonna come back to that kneeling position. I'm gonna face you guys one more time. So I'm doing the opposite side. So if you get mixed up, no stress. We're doing both sides, all good. So whatever leg, this is my left leg now, okay? If it's your right leg, it's fine, don't worry about it. I'm gonna let my pelvis rotate a little bit so my thigh bone is coming straight out from my hip and my knee is over my second and third toe, and then I'm gonna glide. I'm gonna fix my pants and glide. And then just notice if you're really pressing your hips forward. So that puts a little bit of strain on the front of the standing leg. So make sure that those hips are just a little bit back. And that'll give you a nice congruency in that joint. I'm gonna do one more. I'm gonna get my arms out of the way and I'm gonna do a little squat. So this one, especially if you're tight in the back of the hip like I am on my left side, my knee is gonna wanna roll forward. So again, I'm going to be less interested in how far I can go down and more interested in how much I can keep that knee gently pressing back. Can I do two more? Good. And one more. Okay, great. So now we're going to come into like a little Cleopatra position. It's almost like a modified sideline. So I'm going to make sure my heels, my hip, my shoulder, my ear, my hand, one straight line. I'm going to take my top hand underneath my bottom ribs. I'm going to let it sag. And then push the floor away, sending my top ribs up to the ceiling. Just two more. And push. One more. And then see if I can find a straight line in my spine. I'm going to send my top arm up to the ceiling, rotate, and then open the chest. And rotate. And open. Last one, rotate. And open. I'm going to bring my hands as close together as they comfortably can be. I'm going to push the floor away and round my upper back a little bit. Pull the floor towards me as I lift my chest a bit. And I'm going to round and pull. One more time, round and pull. And I'm going to walk my hands back and come to a more traditional mermaid position, like a Z-sit position. I'm just going to wave in the breeze from side to side, up and over, and up and over. Just two more. If your sit bone doesn't come all the way down onto the floor, it's fine. If it feels good to just bend one direction, cool. Last one. And then I'm going to swing my legs around to side two. So again, I'm just going to take that moment to align my body. I'm going to think about my heels, my hip, my shoulder, my hands, one nice long straight line. Top hand around my bottom ribs so I can sense what's going on. And then I'm going to go ahead and let my ribs fall and push. You might hear my heater kick on in my studio. It's kind of a cold, rainy day. This is the perfect kind of day to do this sort of work. Maybe you feel a little cold, a little stuck, joints are a little stiff, and then you're going to take your top arm up towards the ceiling and rotate, and then reach away. And I'm constantly pushing the mat away with my right hand, and open, following my fingertips with my eyes, and open. I'm going to take my hands to touch. I'm going to push the floor away around my spine. Pull the floor towards me as I reach my chest long. Push the floor away around. Pull the floor towards and reach. One more time, push. And pull with the hands. And I'm going to walk my hands back, come into that more traditional Z-sit position. I'm going to let my sit bone relax as much as possible. I'm just going to take a side bend. And side bend. So what I'm trying to do here is less of like a drapey willow tree with my arm and more creating that beautiful tension through the system. And I'm using tension in a positive way. So a little bit of tension through the body is great. Gives space to our joints, lets our muscles and fascia elongate. Great, and then come back. I'm going to slide down on my tummy. Okay, we're nearing the end, the finish line. Okay, and so what I'm going to do is find my heels more or less in alignment with my sitting bones. And then I'm going to take my right hand and I'm just going to rest my forehead down. I'm going to bend my left knee and then take a hold of my left foot with my left hand. I'm going to try to press my hips into the floor as much as possible, and I'm going to kick my left foot back into my hand. It's going to drag my chest up. I'm going to look a little bit to the left, and I'm going to pull my heel towards my tush,
And then I'm gonna let my head fall down and look to the right. I can bend my elbow a little bit and let my shoulder drop. And pull with the foot, rotate left. Pull with the hand, rotate right. And so you're getting a little bit of upper thoracic mobility, some quad stretching. And if you show me a person who doesn't need a quad stretch, I don't know, I'll just stop teaching Pilates. Good, and come down and let's switch over to the other side. So left hand down, grab a hold of that right foot. Just take a moment, find that elongation, press the hips into the floor. I'm gonna push with my right foot, rotate to the right a little bit. Pull my right heel towards my tush as my head goes to the left. Eyes go to the right. Eyes go to the left. Again, not about height, but more about finding that elastic quality through the body. One more time. And down. I'm going to go ahead and separate my feet just a little bit wider than my hips, still in parallel. I'm going to stretch my arms straight out in front of me and kind of crawl my fingertips forward. Nose is just barely lifted off of the mat. I'm going to press my hips into the floor. I'm going to lift my chest up into a little easy upper back bend with long arms. And I'm going to slide my hands more or less underneath my shoulders. And I'm going to push up into a back extension that feels appropriate today. And I'm going to roll my spine back down. Stretch my arms forward and find that elongation again. Maybe crawl the fingers forward. Just 2 more times. Lift, bend. So maybe your back extension looks like this, which is gorgeous. Maybe it looks like that, which is also amazing. And then roll down. So the whole point here is just to work through extension. Oh, the sunshine came out. Yay. One more time. Lift. Ooh, major sunshine. All right. And bend. Sun likes back extension. And up and down. I'm just going to pass through a quick all fours position. I'm going to take a moment to reconnect my abdominals after all that extension. Just getting the spine back into neutral. I'm going to walk my big toes together, knees apart, press back into a child's pose. Yay. I'm going to crawl my fingers forward, really trying to elongate. Take a breath or two. And then roll the spine up. And now you are mobilized. Yay. All right, guys, see you next time. Thanks for joining me. Take good care.